So the award season's movies are dropping, and a lot of them are dropping on streaming, like Causeway, which premieres today on Apple TV+.
Jennifer Lawrence returns to the kind of raw and understated, gritty indie that she made her name on with Winter's Bone back in 2010. Here in this film called Causeway.
Hey, you good?
She plays a young woman named Lindsay who has just come home from Afghanistan. She was there on an assignment with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers where she was hit with an IED explosion and suffered severe brain trauma. And so she has to go back home and relearn how to do everything and start a new life all over again. And from the very, very beginning, it's a totally different tone than we have seen from Jennifer Lawrence in recent years. The director, Lila Neugebauer, this is her first feature. She's a very acclaimed veteran stage director, and this is her first film. And she really sits in the quiet rhythms of this young woman who's in her 20s and has to relearn how to brush her teeth and hold a water glass. And all these simple things. And there's nothing mawkish about these moments. It's just understated and observant. And the great Jayne Houdyshell is among this incredible murderer's row of character actors and supporting roles here. Linda Emond plays Jennifer Lawrence's mom. Stephen McKinley Henderson is her doctor. And of course, the great Brian Tyree Henry is the unlikely friend that she ends up spending a lot of time with. He is the mechanic at the auto shop where she takes her pickup truck when it breaks down. And he's got some trauma in his life too, and he is damaged too. And the best parts of this film follow the two of them as they just kind of hang out, and learn to trust again through this nice friendship. Prior to meeting him, she's kind of always on the periphery of things. She's unsure of herself in the world. She's in this incredible party city, and you hear it, you feel its vibe kind of on the edges of this film, but she's always reluctant to let herself, fling herself headlong into it. And so to watch the way that they draw one another out, it's really cool. They very easily establish this rapport that makes you feel like they've been friends since childhood, giving each other a shit in a way that's really comfortable. And they have a really nice rapport. Brian Tyree Henry brings this great warmth and humanity to the role. It's a little too understated, perhaps. It's a little too restrained. And so when there are scenes that I think are going for, an emotional wallop, we perhaps don't feel them, but I love seeing Jennifer Lawrence just act. She's so intuitive, and she has that great connection to us through the camera. And to not have all of the stuff of the Hunger Games and all of the spectacle of the David O. Russell movies is exciting in a totally different way.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell this is a director who comes from the theater, not because there's a stagey feel to the movie, but so much of it does boil down to two people having a conversation. Yeah, and pretty much everything we learn about these characters is them talking about what happened to them. There's you would expect that maybe that somebody would give you a flashback of the explosion, the accident, or the this or that. And no, it's just them talking to each other about it. And because, Jennifer Lawrence and Brian Tyree Henry are so good at what they do, they paint a word picture. You get you feel what those moments were like and what the shock of those, traumatic accidents were like. But it does kind of keep the film on this sort of vibe that you want it to kind of kick into high occasionally, and it never really does. But you're watching them, and watching them is so fascinating. This is clearly a director who knows how to work with actors, knows how to kind of pace things around actors. And, so if that's enough for you, if you're somebody who is really drawn into kind of these thespian showcase kind of movies, you're going to come away with a lot here. And there's a lot that they bring to it. But yeah, there is, it is subdued to a fault, I think, in a lot of ways. I was kind of waiting for one, not like a big sort of, Oscar clip moment necessarily, but just something in the filmmaking, something that would just sort of be a little bit more of a that would land with a bit more of a of an impact.
Yeah.
But instead it's like it just kind of rolls along in its quiet way, and you learn things and there are revelations. But again, they all happen in 2-person conversations.
Right. And then there are incredible scenes, like individual scenes with, Jayne Houdyshell is the woman who runs the house where she, learns she's like a caretaker who watches her in the very beginning, and just she leaves this incredible impact in like a few scenes, like a handful of scenes, as far as what kind of path this young woman is going to be set on. Linda Emond, like the first second you see her, you know exactly who that woman is.
Yeah.
Right. That she's like this blousy, flaky drunk who cannot get her act together. And those scenes have a bit of a crackle to them, her and her mom. But there's a fantastic scene that seems like nothing at all is happening. And A, it's so Louisiana. And B, you really see them begin to let their guard crumble. It's when they get a 6-pack and they go to a park. Like they're sitting on a bench in a playground on like a sticky summer night, drinking beer in a park in Louisiana. And I've done that. Like it's just, it feels so natural, and you see them get under one another's skin, and like that's the beginning of a really interesting friendship in that evening. And so I liked a lot of this. I really, really did. And it's just cool to see Jennifer Lawrence in a lower key again, for sure.
Sure.
So where's your number?
I give this a 7.5. I think it's really terrific and people should check it out, but it is like, it's all tell no show.
You think so?
Kind of. I mean, yes, a lot of what this movie is about is their relationship. And so of course that's going to emerge in conversation. But I mean, literally, like there's, I'm trying to think of a scene where like a third person is involved. Like it's literally 2 people. It's always 2 people.
That's true. I feel like, I wonder if part of that
the guy in the bar who tries to pick her up and Brian Tyree Henry kind of runs interference.
Yeah.
That's it. That's like the one I can think of.
I wonder though, a part of that is because they began shooting this before COVID. And then COVID happened, and then they had to like regroup, and like she got pregnant during all that time.
Oh wow.
And
okay.
so they had to, maybe that's why, maybe it's like a production limitation thing that they couldn't have a whole lot of big scenes with a lot of people, and that's why it feels so small.
I guess, but I that makes it easy for me to think, well, if you were doing this on stage, here's what it would look like. And you could adapt this into a play like in 10 minutes because it's really just, it's all scenes of 2 people talking.
That's true. Anyway, I'm saying 7.8. I liked it a little better than you did. So Causeway is now out on Apple TV Plus in the world for you to enjoy.